Hello everyone. This is a recap for the entirety of Season 1 of The Guardians. Since I'll try to make this a quick recap, please watch Season 1 for more details if you're interested. Okay, let's begin. Okay, but before we start, I want to apologize for if I sound weird at any times or if there are any pops. I just can't record this because this is the last day I can record it, and it's almost midnight, so yeah. Mizuki wakes her twin sister, Miyuki, up to remind her that today they will be meeting Ayaka, Mizuki's friend. Once they get there, Ayaka shows them a portal. She's unsure of what the portal does. We also meet her best friend, Miyu. These four girls are all from her present. In the future, Yuki's worrying about the portal not working. She decides to test it out by bringing Mizuki into her timeline and also returning to check on Miyuki. Miyuki figures out Yuki's identity. She makes her agree to take her to her twin. Meanwhile, Mizuki wakes up in a different timeline. Alex greets her, but Axel doesn't seem very happy that Mizuki is here. They let her leave a little to take a walk. Miyuki finds out that the light is dark for some reason in the future, but does not question it too much and goes with Yuki to Mizuki. Yumika was spying on them and now is aware that a guardian is present. Yumika introduces herself to Mizuki, claiming that she's a dream guardian. After a while, Yumika convinces her and she takes Mizuki somewhere. Alex calls Yuki, since Mizuki is not returning. Miyuki and Yuki go on a quest to find Mizuki. Mizuki confesses that she knew that she was a guardian, but she cannot control her power very well. Yuki reveals to Miyuki that she's from the past, she's a season guardian, and that there are 9 guardians in total. Later on, Miyuki saves Yuki from a flying knife because, Gacha logic, and find out that Miyuki is a magic guardian. In the end, all Yumika did was bring Mizuki to the portal. Ayaka senses some energy coming from a portal, so she goes in with Miyu. While Mizuki discovers that both of her friends are guardians, Yumika is extremely happy that she found them before Yuki did. Miyuki and Yuki join them shortly after. To make it easier, Miyuki teleports everyone back to the guardian house. Alex shows the other twins and the two best friends where they will be sleeping. Yuki notices that there is one guardian left, but Axel knows who it is. Axel tries to convince his friend Kaito to come back for the guardians. Kaito claims that they will be unable to help. Meanwhile, Mizuki wakes up and goes to practice her powers. She's able to control the lights for a little. Axel introduces Kaito to Mizuki. In the morning, Kaito claims that their powers are gone, so they leave. The guardians are not giving up. They make a plan to get Kaito to stay. However, none of the Axel plans work, so they send off Yumika to convince them. Yumika gets into their mind and finds out that Kaito was lying about the fact that they've lost their powers. Kaito will think about staying or not, as the guardians are still taking the news in. Yumika says that it's hard to explain whether or not Kaito really did lose their powers. The guardians take a day off. While they do, Alex tells everyone about the Dark Queen and Nightmare Fuel. The Dark Queen is a guardian, and after hearing the prophecy, everyone thinks that it's Mizuki. On the other hand, Nightmare was a guardian, but somehow gave powers to all the current guardians after the originals died. Ayaka proposes the idea of going out to her friends. Everyone but Miyuki is interested. Miyuki realizes that Yumika isn't with them anymore. Instead, Yumika is in some sort of void talking to somebody. That somebody asks when he will be able to leave. Yumika is not sure, since she doesn't really trust him yet. Simultaneously, Mizuki confesses that she's been feeling low since she doesn't like being separated again from her sister. Ayaka tells her that it will be fine, and Miyu gives her a flower. Back at the Guardian House, Miyuki is wondering whether she could be the queen. Yumika asks Yuki for help. Yumika tells Yuki about her premonitory dream, and Yuki gives up the impression that she does not care. Yumika leaves. Miyuki tries to comfort her by suggesting to play Uno, but Yuki doesn't know what that is. Meanwhile, Mizuki exclaims that Ayaka could be the queen as well. They try not to think too hard about it, and tend to us up, since Ayaka sends the same energy from a portal in the shop. Musk claims that Z has been waiting for their arrival. Miu wants to leave. Ayaka keeps on insisting that the energy from the portal is good, so nothing bad will happen. Musk figures out that they are guardians. The girls try to leave. As they attempt, Miu gets hurt. Ayaka is unable to use their powers to fight. Mizuki creates a distraction with the lights, making them have enough time to run away. Mizuki says that she'll explain what that was later. Axel and Yumika claim that somebody's back. In this episode, we're unsure on who they're talking about. Yumika calls for Kaito as they're under a threat. Miu and Mizuki discuss Mizuki's new power, now she doesn't want to be the queen. Yuki questions us back, to which Alex replies that the people hunting for the Guardians are. Alex explained that, some years ago, they drugged Axel, almost removing his powers. Kaito shows up, declaring that Axel got corrupted. Alex goes to heal Miu. Yuki asks what they need to save, and Yumika replies by saying that the timeline will need saving, as he is going to destroy it. Yuki is confused. Yumika explained that our shadow will destroy it, and that they can save it with a certain gem. Miyuki is curious about Yuki's relationship with Yumika. Yuki tells her that they used to be friends, and that she keeps on messing up. Miyuki tries to give her advice, but Yuki's angered by that. Alex changes the subject, helping out Yuki. As soon as it's nighttime, Yumika tries to get herself to have some premonition to be able to help out with the whole situation. Although, the only one we see in a dream is Alex. Alex meets up with the mysterious guy. We find out that this is not their first interaction. The guy suggests that they make a deal. He will tell him the location of the gem if Alex agrees to stay with him after he breaks into reality. Alex will have to think about it. The Guardians hold a meeting. Yuki informs everyone that she'll be taking Mizuki to get crowned tomorrow. After that, Mizuki discovers that Miyuki went to Kaito's home, and once he's back, Yumika's premonition comes true. Yuki, worried by that, wonders where Yumika would be. We see Yumika distressed in the void, looking for something. Yuki brings Mizuki, accompanied by Miyuki, to Piarl, where they meet Eve. Eve doesn't think that Yuki's telling the truth, but tells her co-worker Kat anyways. Eve informs the Guardians that, if Mizuki is not the queen, she will pass out. Mizuki does exactly that. Miyuki tries out the test and only bleeds, without passing out. Eve thinks that Miyuki is the queen. Yuki comes home to make Alex heal Mizuki and to inform the others about who's the queen. After a while, they come to the conclusion that Yuki should be the one to visit Miyuki. After everyone leaves, Axel talks to Kaito. He asks them what is the corruption, but his friend does not answer his question. In the end, the gem is shattered accidentally. It is not the gem they were looking for, so it does not matter much. Yuki ignores the gem mess and goes to visit Miyuki. Flash forward to 3 days later. Miyuki is acting very differently. Yuki is angry at her behavior since he thinks that the PR members have brainwashed her. The albino tells Miyuki that they're trying to find a cure for the corruption, but does not get into much detail. Yuki leaves after saying that PR never tries to help. While that is happening, Yumika visits the unknown person in the void. He knows that Miyuki is not the real queen, but only agrees to tell Yumika who it is if she lets him feel the reality, without interacting. Yumika immediately agrees. The Guardians inform Yuki that they have a plan to bring Miyuki back with them. They plan on taking immediate action. Yuki accepts the plan. Before leaving, Alex goes to check in on Yume. He confesses that he keeps on seeing this person in his dreams. Yumika swiftly realizes that he's talking about the unknown guy, and is confused on how Alex can see him. Yumika confesses that she was the one to trap him there. Before Alex can tell Yumika about the deal, Ayaka calls for him. Alex has to leave, whilst Yumika wants to stay there. They agree to talk about it later. Yumika is shown to be planning to do something. Yuki runs her new plan with the Guardians. She goes into the building to talk to Miyuki. Once she's in, Miyuki tells her to run away with her. Yuki is confused. Miyuki admits that she's done with the things the Guardians are supposed to do. She also admits that she knew that it was Yuki who set up the knife to make Miyuki use her power. Yuki knew about it. Yuki does not want to leave, however. Miyuki calls her A. Yuki's aware that Miyuki knows a lot. Yuki declares that she will be sincere with Miyuki and that she will tell her everything she has to know. Meanwhile, the Guardians are once again changing the plan. Ayaka and Miyu stay outside, so they have a conversation. They ask each other if they would rather have a normal life than being a Guardian. Miyu says that she dislikes her power, but she's glad that she's a Guardian since it made her and Ayaka be friends. Whilst Ayaka says that she'd love to have a normal life, but is more than happy to save people. Miyu also tells her that the cat whiskers makeup she has on her face appeared out of nowhere. She can't get rid of it. Concurrently, Axel and Kaito are inside the building. Axel asks more on the corruption, to which Kaito replies that the corruption blocks the first soul power of the only one there. Kaito also confesses to not recalling taking the drug. They don't know what's in their system. Axel wants to find a strong energy source. Kaito has now an idea to where to find it. Nonetheless, Mizuki and Alex are the one in charge of finding the energy. Mizuki asks the other what they have to find the energy and what they're not using their own energy. Alex replies by telling her that the energy is needed for the cure, and they are not using their energy since it might harm them, or it might be a different kind of energy. Mizuki immediately finds the energy inside her room, although, after they're in, there's a crack. They realize that the place might be dangerous. Mizuki gets hurt, but notices someone walking around that space. It's Yumika. Yumika notices her friends and announces that she is the real queen. Yumika seems to be in a rush. After Alex heals Mizuki, Yumika tells him that he must be quick since he made a deal with the unknown person and does not trust him much. Mizuki is confused about what they're talking about. We find out that Kaito sold Axel their home, to which Axel does not find normal. Yumika informs her friends quickly and they leave to find Miyuki. Before that, Axel asks what the white void is. Yumika assures them that she'll respond later. Miyuki is still talking with Yuki. Eve does not want the fake queen to live, as she believes PR keeps her safe. In contrast, Kat states that they are allowed to go. Kat admits to Eve that it is because Miyuki is strong, and because their real queen, Yumika, is powerful. They believe in the Guardians, but they just want them to stay safe. Every Guardian now knows that Yumika is the queen. Alex is in pain, and Yumi realizes that it's because the mysterious person is trying to escape the void. Yumika and Alex go into the void to confront him. After Unknown heals Alex, Yumika says that he promised he wouldn't hurt her reality. Unknown confesses that he just wants to be seen as normal and be back into reality. Yumika is worried that he's going to hurt innocents once he's back. Unknown claims that no one is innocent since they hurt them both and are trying to kill them just because they have powers. He snaps, making Yumika cry. Even though he apologizes, Yumika does not forgive him. She calls him Yami and leaves the void. Alex leaves shortly after, informing the Guardians that Yami is going to break into reality. Yumika announces that Yami is her twin brother and a mirror guardian, and that makes him the 10th and last guardian. Yuki seems genuinely surprised by this, as she thought there were only 9 guardians. Yumika explains that Yami can either have the same power as one of them, or the opposite power. She confesses that she has no idea what the white void is, so Yuki tells Kaito that it is something Nightmare created, and that it is not one of the timelines. It is Kaito's home. In the end, Yumika spills out that anyone can see Yami, but he mostly shows up for her and Alex. Axel is upset by this news and tells his brothers to not trust him. Alex seems to be against that idea. Yumika plans that they all go into the void, but before that, Alex admits that he wants to give Yami a chance as he is related to Yumika, therefore can't be that bad. Mizuki is in pain. Yumika realizes that Yami is trying to call for her. Yumi tells Mizuki to go, but Yuki's against that idea. In the end, Mizuki enters the void. Yumi tells Mizuki his plan. As soon as the Guardians come into the void, he will drop them in a past memory. They can only get back to normal if at least one Guardian is remembered. He created a distraction so that he could easily escape the void. After that, Yami removes Mizuki from his face. Mizuki is now lonely in the void and unable to wake up. Axel joins Yami shortly after, threatening him to not hurt Alex. Yami states that he would never do that. Axel figures out that he created a distraction so that he could escape. Hence, he fights him. Axel loses and Yami removes him from that area of the void as well, with the portal slowly opening up. Mizuki finds herself in somebody's memory. She recognizes Yumika straight away and tries to explain the situation, but Yumika's already aware as she's in charge of dreams. Even though she's able to control dreams, she's not able to control her power that much, therefore she's not able to get them out of the void. Since Yumika remembers everything, they're moved to a different memory. Mizuki sees Alex and Axel and tells her friend to stay still. Mizuki approaches the two boys, telling them that she's also a guardian. They don't believe her, and Mizuki is unable to prove it, since the powers are blocked. She uses the name Alex and Axel, to which the two don't recognize. Yumika joins Mizuki, but the two won't remember no matter what. Yumika starts to sing a song that they must know. They both recognize it, but instead of this Yumika, they remember the old version of Yumika, so they're still not able to live. Mizuki encourages Yume, leaving Alex to say "wake up," which reminds him of when he first met Mizuki. Since Mizuki was remembered, the gang moves on to Miyu's past. Mizuki approaches the girl, but Miyu doesn't want to hear what she's got to say and doesn't believe that they're friends. Mizuki brings up Ayaka, and Miyu suddenly remembers. They get moved to Ayaka's memory. Mizuki explains the situation, and Miyu goes to talk to the girl. It doesn't look like Ayaka is going to remember, but then Miyu mentions the portal. Upon hearing the word being used, Ayaka remembers that she found it with her friend. They move to a different memory they do not recognize. Other than that, people have appeared too, something that didn't happen in other memories. The Guardians realize that it is Yuki's memory, but they can't find her. Ayaka asks a random lady if she saw a young girl with white hair, to which the lady replies that only witches could have natural hair. Ayaka is worried about Mizuki and Yumika. Axel gives her advice on who to ask, and Yumika takes it. Even though she took his advice, she finds the question wrong, so no reply there. Miyu wonders why, if they're going in order, they didn't see Miyuki. Ayaka sees someone suspicious and is willing to ask her if she knows about Yuki. Mizuki agrees with that, as she is now concerned for her sister. She goes to ask that lady when they realize that it's Yuki. Yuki states that she goes by Cleo and not Yuki. The others explain that she's in a dream, but Cleo does not think too much about it and leaves. Mizuki tries to get her back, but Alex reassures her that Axel has a plan. Axel thinks that to get Yuki back, they have to make her use her power. Thereupon, Yumika asks to make a hurricane appear. She made an object appear for a few moments, so Axel is sure that she could make a hurricane appear. Meanwhile, Esther approaches Diana. She claims that today has been weird, and Blythe informs her friends that a hurricane is incoming. The two leave, but Blythe notices Cleo and stops. Esther calls for Blythe. In the end, Blythe follows. Yuki notices the hurricane and wonders if it is real or just a dream. Believing that it's real, Cleo convinces herself to control it. In the end, she manages to make the hurricane disappear. People think that Cleo is a witch, so they get ready to burn her at stake. Cleo calls out for Yumika's help. Since Yuki remembered Yumika, they are all back into the void. Yuki at first is angry at the other guardian, but then acts happy to see her. She apologizes for any wrongdoings, and the two hug. However, nothing is happening at the void, and Yuki can't tell why. Axel thinks that it is because they can't track Kaito. Yuki is desperate to find Kaito in order to stop Yami. Yumika does not want to fight her brother. The others try to get Yumika to understand that it's bad, but she won't listen. Yumika believes that they can only protect others if all 10 guardians are together, but the others think that he is the danger. Yumika tries to convince Alex to go into the void to see Yami, to Alex's denial. They continue this feud for a while. Once Yumika brings up that the gem is bad, Yuki confirms that the wishing gem was made for them, and it can help them. Yumika thinks that her brother can help to find it, and while Alex agrees, none of the other guardians want to even consider that an option. Yumika reminds them that she's the queen, as this prophecy claimed that. Yuki is surprised to hear that she knows about it. Yumika admits that Yami told her. The guardians still won't listen to her, so Yumika leaves them. Axel just now realizes that she had the power to make them see Kaito and get it all over with. Alex thinks that there is an alternative, hence leaving for Yami's area of the void. He tells Yami that he needs help to see Kaito, as Yumika just left. Yami confesses that only Yumika could help them in that moment, and that they shall try to get her back. He also confesses that he would have helped if it wasn't for the other guardians. He trusts Alex. Before removing Alex from his area, he tells them to think about his offer. Alex says goodbye to Yami before announcing to the others that they need to get Yumika back. Miyu realizes that she might appear soon, as she can't use her powers for too long in the void. Yumika, in fact, does come back, but she seems to want nothing to do with this situation. Although, in the end, she agrees to move them to the White Void. The Guardians want Axel to try to make Kaito remember, since they're best friends. Axel gets Kaito to use their power. Anyhow, Kaito is unable to do that, and Axel informs it that it's because they got corrupted. After petting him for a little, Kaito recognizes Axel. They are all moved back to reality. Mizuki asks her twin sister why she wasn't there. Miki simply states that she didn't join them in the void. The Guardians realize that it's too late to fight Yami. Ayaka comments that it doesn't matter if they die saving the timeline, to which everyone is frightened and shocked. Ayaka confirms that she was only joking. Moving on, Yuki assures that she will only try to make Yami change his mind, and that they won't fight him. Yubika hugs her out of joy. Mizuki leaves the room to look outside the window. What we see are lights outside dimming, not because of our space/light guardian. Oh my god, I didn't, no, it wasn't improved. I had to read from a script, so, yeah, it does seem like I read from a script because I did. And it's really bad because why did I use such big language? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and sorry for the pop noises. I just can't record this again because this is the last day I can edit this. Yeah, can't wait for you to see season 2. Oh, yay. Okay, hope you enjoyed that.